NFL contracts have evolved a lot. From Joe Montana making $3 million per year to Patrick Mahomes signing a $450 million contract, it's obvious players are paid more in today's NFL. Today, we are covering the highest paid player on each of all the 32 NFL teams. Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray with an average salary of $46.1 million. As a Cardinals fan, I can say that Kyler Murray doesn't deserve this big contract. As good as he is, he just isn't worth $46 million per year for 5 entire seasons. As of right now, he is paid more than quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. He just isn't better than them and definitely deserves less. Atlanta Falcons left tackle Jake Matthews with an average salary of $18.3 million. Before making this video, I've heard of this name maybe once or twice. After doing more research, I realized how essential Jake Matthews is to the Falcons offense, keeping the quarterback safe and the run game strong. He is very essential. Baltimore Ravens offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley with an average salary of $19.8 million. The second lineman on this list so far with another nice contract. Ronnie doesn't have a side that he plays the most, he just does whatever based on the situation that the line is in, and that's why they pay him so much. He's one of the best in the league. Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen with an average salary of $43 million. Arguably the best quarterback in the league right now with a contract that is less than a lot of quarterbacks. It is still pretty high and well deserved. Josh Allen puts his body on the line every single game playing like a running back. He even played on a sprained ankle last year and is currently playing with a hurt elbow. This is the most deserved contract so far. Carolina Panthers right tackle Taylor Moton with an average salary of $17.8 million. Already the third lineman on this list, these tackles are pretty essential to keeping their quarterback safe, and Taylor Moton is no exception. Chicago Bears free safety Eddie Jackson with an average salary of $14.6 million. Eddie Jackson is probably the least paid player on this list so far, but respectively the highest on his team. This one is definitely earned with Eddie completing their defense. You'll never see him getting outplayed. Cincinnati Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson with an average salary of $15 million. Obviously the team that just made it to the Super Bowl is good, and it could not have been done without Trey Hendrickson. But to think that Joe Shiesty is outpaid by a defensive end is crazy. Joe Burrow should definitely be the highest paid player on the team, but props to Trey for being good enough for that contract. Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson with an average salary of $46 million. Alright, this is the craziest one on this list. The quarterback that isn't smart enough to stay out of legal trouble is paid $46 million to think for their team. That is just insane. Not only that, but when he comes back from a huge 11-game suspension, he's playing for the first time in 2 years. This one is definitely not deserved. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott with an average salary of $40 million. Another quarterback on this list that might be a bit overpaid, but it's okay because it's their year. In all seriousness, Dak is a pretty decent quarterback that probably deserved his big contract a lot more than some of these people. Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson with an average salary of $48.5 million. Broncos country? Let's ride. More like Broncos country, we're broke. After giving Russell Wilson a massive contract and giving up a big part of their draft, the Broncos now don't have much money to spend and barely any draft spots. Russ put the Broncos in a bad position for many years. Detroit Lions quarterback Jared Goff with an average salary of $33.5 million. Despite the Lions being very bad, I think Jared Goff deserves this contract. I'm saying this because it's not a huge contract, but it's a decent amount for a quarterback that's trying his best with a team that sucks. Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers with an average salary of $50.3 million. After many years in the NFL, Rodgers got another big contract. This left the Packers unable to pay for their best receiver, resulting in a pretty bad season so far. Houston Texans left tackle Laramie Tunsil with an average salary of $22 million. With the Texans being so bad, they have to keep their stars around, even if it's a lineman. Laramie is the most paid lineman on this list so far, and it is well deserved. He's one of the only things left on this Texans team. Indianapolis Colts quarterback Matt Ryan with an average salary of $30 million. After Matt Ryan seemed completely washed these past couple years with the Falcons, the Colts wanted him for whatever reason. And just like last year, he's still looking pretty washed. On top of that, he got replaced by some rookie backup for the past few weeks. After the Colts head coach got fired, the new coach started Matt Ryan, and for the first time in years, he actually looked pretty decent. But he's nowhere near worth $30 million. Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Christian Kirk with an average salary of $18 million. Christian Kirk has been a pretty big star in Jacksonville after being paid a fortune. The past few years he's looked pretty decent in Arizona, but nowhere near worth $18 million. He's not worth what he's being paid, but he's still a pretty good receiver. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes with an average salary of $45 million. This one's pretty easy to explain with Patrick Mahomes being one of the best. In my opinion, the Chiefs pulled a fast one with Mahomes and got him to sign a 10-year deal around $45 million a year. If they would have given him a 5-year deal, he probably would have come back asking after that 5-year deal for more money after it ended. The Chiefs set up their future in a huge way with this one. Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams with an average salary of $28 million. After the Packers forgot who carried them to a first-round bye, they let Davante Adams run free to the Raiders, where they actually paid him what he's worth. He's a great receiver, it's just the fact that his quarterback is kinda bad. When he was with a good quarterback in Green Bay, both players helped each other to succeed. Now both players are going nowhere. Jokes aside, Davante is 100% worth what he is paid. The man is a beast. Los Angeles Chargers outside linebacker Khalil Mack with an average salary of $23.5 million. After being traded away from the Bears, he's taken the spot of the highest paid player in the Chargers. He's an amazing linebacker that affects the opposing team's game plan like no other. Also, the Bears defense is looking pretty bad after losing him. Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford with an average salary of $40 million. With many highly paid players on the Rams, Stafford takes the crown for the highest paid player, with Aaron Donald being $8.4 million behind him. Stafford has been a pretty good quarterback leading the Rams to a Super Bowl, but he has been struggling with interceptions lately, but overall still a top tier QB. Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill with an average salary of $30 million. With the blockbuster contract making Tyreek the highest paid receiver in NFL history, he is definitely the highest paid on his team. Tyreek Hill has always been a huge threat to defenses, and for whatever reason the Chiefs didn't value him as much as the Dolphins did, and this resulted in them having them over the Chiefs and probably having a better offense at this point. Minnesota Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins with an average salary of $35 million. This one might be the highest paid per year, but it's one of the shortest terms on the Vikings. Kirk Cousins is on a $35 million one-year deal, and I think with this deal they wanted to see what the new head coach could make of Kirk. If the coach ended up being limited by Kirk Cousins, they would let him go in replacement for a new QB for the coach to work with. So far, it's looking like Kirk Cousins is getting the big contract next year with the way he's playing. New England Patriots outside linebacker Matt Judon with an average salary of $13.6 million. The 30-year-old linebacker wasn't going to go for cheap. He wanted to get paid for his skill, and Bill Belichick definitely paid him. Bill paid Judon so much that now he's the most paid on the team. He's also one of 4 linebackers on this list, so to be paid the most on your team as a linebacker means you're pretty good. New Orleans Saints cornerback Marshawn Lattimore with an average salary of $19.5 million. Cornerbacks nowadays don't come cheap. New Orleans learned this in the hard way when they gave the hefty contract to Marshawn Lattimore, but that's okay because he's a menace to receivers and quarterbacks. You'll never see an offensive play aimed at the man. New York Giants defensive end Leonard Williams with an average salary of $21 million. Surpassing Kenny Golladay as the most paid player on the Giants, Leonard Williams definitely deserves it. The star defensive end always finds himself hitting the quarterback and stopping run plays. To be honest, he's so good he probably appears in other quarterbacks' nightmares. New York Jets inside linebacker CJ Mosley with an average salary of $17 million. On one of the worst franchises, the linebacker CJ Mosley takes the crown for the most paid player on the team. On a team with mainly rookie contracts, it's pretty easy to be the highest paid. CJ will only hold this title for a couple more years when one of the stars' contract expires though. Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver AJ Brown with an average salary of $25 million. One of the biggest trades this season brought AJ Brown to the Eagles. The Eagles are having the best year in franchise history so far with the help of AJ, so I'm sure they don't have a problem paying him so much. The only problem that's going to come in the future is when Jalen Hurts' rookie deal expires and he asks for a fortune. When this comes, people like AJ are going to be traded away to make cap room for the star quarterback to stay in Philly. Pittsburgh Steelers outside linebacker TJ Watt with an average salary of $28 million. This is probably the most well-deserved contract on this list. Even though he's getting paid more than a lot of quarterbacks, as a linebacker, he's definitely earned it. With Hall of Fame stats, $28 million is probably too little for him. We're going to see a lot more out of TJ Watt for years to come. San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel with an average salary of $23.8 million. To be honest, I would have been pretty mad if someone was paid higher than Deebo. The guy plays nearly every offensive position for them. Hopefully Deebo can continue to be paid for his hard work. Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf with an average salary of $24 million. This is another pretty good deal. DK carries the Seahawks receiving corps and is one of the best in the league. Hopefully they can keep him around in Seattle. Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin with an average salary of $20 million. With Godwin being the highest paid player on the Bucs, that means Tom Brady is outpaid. It really surprises me how little the GOAT is paid. I mean, come on, Tom Brady has won more Super Bowls than anyone in the league, and he's getting outpaid by an injury-prone receiver. He's a top 5 quarterback at the age of 45 and getting outpaid by other quarterbacks by more than $30 million. I mean, give the GOAT some respect and actually give him a valid paycheck. On the other hand, for Brady to accept such a low deal is very respectable. Him doing that opens up a lot of cap space for the Bucs to bring in more players for him to win. But seriously, give the GOAT the respect he deserves. Tennessee Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill with an average salary of $29.5 million. It's pretty hard to pay someone more than Derrick Henry, but with Ryan Tannehill being such an elite quarterback, $29 million is a steal for the Titans. But moving forward, Derrick Henry should probably be paid the most on the team with the workload that he is given. And finally, the Washington Commanders quarterback Carson Wentz with an average salary of $32 million. This is probably the worst contract on the list. With Carson Wentz getting outperformed by the backup Taylor Heineke, the $32 million is just being wasted away to a quarterback that's benched. Also, who thought paying a washed Carson Wentz that much money was even worth it if he was the starter? Like, come on. Anyways guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys all in the next video.